You're the only one on the agenda.
Wrong meeting.
Yeah, that's getting me to the point, isn't it?
Well, I mean, there is only one person here who's not on the agenda,
Yeah.
so.
So, at the last minute, I was tasked to find out if an out-of-date short-term rental needs to go through a permit process, and that was for Shelley's. In that the board is, and I thought about this while I was sitting in the tarmac, the planning commission makes recommendations to the board of trustees. The board of trustees ultimately issues a permit. And I'd like to suggest that the decision as to whether or not a new permit would be required would be a board decision. In that ours is only going to be a recommendation.
That's item 5 on the agenda.
Okay, we're on 5 now.
Oh, geez.
There wasn't any
I'm sorry.
public input.
I wasn't catching up with you. You really.
How long has it been since it was a vacation rental? I can't, you said before, but I can't remember what you said.
What happened to me was that everything was ready to go, and then I became ill, and I wasn't able to leave the property to get those nights in.
Okay.
And it's been a long process. I've been very sick, but I finally got it to where, so I have made arrangements to be in Westcliff during the summer with my parents. So
Okay.
it would have, full ability at this time now to be rented. And do you remember, like,
The last time it was
2013?
were used as a
2013. I've been really sick. It's been a long.
This is my contention, that I don't believe that she ever had a chance to rent this vacation rental.
We went through the public
She went through all the
hearing.
processes, she did all the application process, through
I had
the planning
management.
commission, the board of trustees,
Mhm.
but she never, because of her illness, she never had a chance to rent it, and I just can't see penalizing her.
It was a permit.
It was a permit issue.
It was.
yes.
Everything was active in order.
What year?
What's
13.
this, two?
'Cause I've been sick 2
it's
summers, so-
About maybe 4 or 5 years, 4 years ago,
2 summers, probably 13.
3 or 4 summers ago,
2 summers.
I'm still,
2015,
3
2014.
summers ago.
yeah, and I received the license information in the mail, and I called Renee, and she said I'm still active in the books, and I gave her the check and everything. But then, we started discussing it, wanting to make sure that I'm okay to go forward. And since I'm now able to do it, it's a critical decision for my life, because I'm not able now to, my doctors aren't releasing me to go back to work. So, but I found out through my tax advisor that I can have rental income on the property without earning it, and it doesn't go against my disability, and it doesn't raise, and he figured everything out for me for, at least 70 nights at the maximum rate, and what that would be for taxes and everything, and everything looks great. It would be just probably, just the only asset I really have now, since I'm not able to work, and a lot of leverage. And so it's very critical for me to, whether I'm grandfathered in or just to be clear exactly what I need to do as quickly as possible, because I'm losing bookings in decision time for this summer.
So I didn't get an answer to my question. What year did you get your original approval for special use? Is it 2015, 2014, 2013?
I'm gonna say about 2013.
13.
She's a neighbor, she was across the street from me as far as that rental property went. About 2013.
Thank you.
I had arranged for management. I had someone managing the property. Everything was done. It's just that I couldn't leave and be somewhere else.
If she satisfied all the requirements at the time that she got her conditional use permit, and was unable to perform what she wanted to do, there's no reason, I can't see a reason to deny her just continuing that permit. It went in limbo when she got ill, now she's not ill anymore, or not as ill, and she can do that. There's no reason in the world. The the regulations or the requirements
Haven't changed.
have not changed yet.
Correct.
So for that,
Whatever's been updated as far as this board goes, or the trustees goes, she's willing to accommodate, she's willing to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
nothing's actually been updated yet, so.
Right.
Well, exactly, so.
The
she's
requirements
still
for
going.
short-term rentals has not changed. And so, you know, very, very easily, there's no difference between whether it's being used and whether it's not being used.
The only,
requirements.
the only reason I was under the impression that a vacation rental could be stopped or discontinued was because the house was sold, it was a new owner,
Non-transferable.
and it was non-transferable, or the house had gone for 2 years without being rented as a vacation rental. This is a case where there was an illness and there was.
I don't know that that part is in there.
And, well, as Mr. Bratton says, these were all rules that were just made up, right?
So I know this new chairman.
There were rules that
I
were
have to-
enforced, but they should have been put in the code.
They
Yeah.
were, obviously, from what I understand. they were.
Yes.
That's sort of what we've been doing with the workshops.
Yeah.
Good.
make a motion that this is not a new permit, but a renewal of a previous agreement. And therefore, there should be no $200 application fee assessed and no $50 deposit for lodging taxes.
If you said no change from current, I'm on board. Those aren't current at the moment, are they? The town
No,
isn't,
those are proposed.
yeah, so the town is not currently collecting,
So you don't need my motion because those fees are not in effect yet.
correct.
Okay,
So, I mean,
all right, I withdraw my motion.
motion to recommend to the board.
I don't even think it has to.
We don't have authority we can't grant the short term.
But it's already up and it's already going.
Sorry,
So,
It's already active,
it's already active.
so I don't think it would need to go through.
I think that it's something where it's
If
already active.
if three of you think it doesn't need to go for the board, okay,
I would make a
that's the
motion that
majority.
since the short-term rental is still active, since the special use is still active, that there's no reason to put this before the board and it can continue as current.
I second that.
Who's
And your action was just a determination, right? What you just did was a determination that it was still active and probably should go forward.
Could you restate that in the right fashion?
Let's wait till it gets done.
Yeah, the special use permit was granted, and even though it wasn't exercised, you know, everything was, all the requirements are in place. We weren't reviewing, yours wasn't reviewed, there isn't a mechanism in place for a review, so she's met all the requirements. Again, I don't know that we have the authority to make a determination, we have the authority to make a recommendation with regards to.
But we've
Special
done that
use.
before, where we've said, this meets all the requirements, it doesn't require board approval because there's no change.
And to whom would the recommendation be?
Because,
The recommendation would be to the board.
right, but what's the
There's no-
recommendation?
Yeah, there's no, what's the
That
recommendation?
there are no additional requirements imposed on this.
Yeah, that's good for discussion, but the fact is, we are not acting on a request for an STR.
Correct.
Right,
There's been no request.
We're asking for a,
So we're just answering an existing owner question, what do I have to do to continue my permit?
correct,
And,
And I think we've concluded nothing.
yeah, so there's no recommendation to make because there's nothing that has to happen.
right.
But I would caution you that there are many other cases out there probably where people that really we need to review to see if they pay taxes.
Those are the ones
And
I
they
wanted.
need an annual business permit.
yeah.
Well, that's-
Once our exercise is completed, we recommend to the board implements those, then that's uniformly applied to all.
Yeah,
Short-term
so
rentals.
in this
What do you
particular
mean?
case,
Right, but right now,
in this
Right
particular
now, we don't
case,
have anything special.
But it-
in this particular case, I'd recommend the only fee she should have to pay is $50 annual business license.
Right.
I
That's
did,
my,
That is a current requirement.
I submitted that to Renee.
and that's already been done.
Yes.
is there a motion?
Do we need a motion?
Well, no, but she's already done
Because if she's
Yeah,
paid the
I think
bill,
so.
That's
fine.
what
it. I think
and
you're right.
her STR permit is active,
Yeah.
then there's nothing further to do.
Right.
Again, I'm voicing my concern that I think this, we're giving an opinion and not authority or permission. We're offering an opinion that you don't need to do anything beyond what you've done.
And that'll be in the minutes.
Okay,
And the board can respond if you wish to.
okay.
And I
I'm
thank
fine with
you,
that.
thank you for your direction. And should they decide, I would be glad to comply with any process that we would need to do. And I appreciate it a lot.
And there will be, and eventually, as soon as we get done with the discussions in the workshop, there will be additional things that you'll have to do with vacation. You'll have to show,
Everyone,
yeah.
so.
Okay.
But I do want to add one thing. For the last 3 years, no one has known whether she ran a vacation rental or not.
Yeah.
So, what
It's true.
harm? There's no harm, no foul.
Well, I think the only way we would have known
The
was if
status
somehow.
quo is going to change.
Yeah.
Nothing in the past of my vacation rental history has shown that this anything, but what we're working on is new stuff, so. If there's anything to be said, I would agree that she can keep her vacation rental status the way it is.
I go with that. I'd suggest that because the special use permit was granted and not exercised upon, the neighbor, is there going to be a change in the activity there? You're going to have it's going to start being a short-term rental. Permit was issued, but the activity there was not short-term rental. It was residential.
Yeah, that's,
But a lot of
that's
places
irrelevant
make
in
that.
my mind.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, that's irrelevant, whether she used it or not.
Right, but I'm just gonna,
She has
They
a
could
permit.
have, it could have changed while she was using it. I mean, there could have been a house sold across the street that was maybe against it, but we have, every time a house gets sold, you have to change.
That's all irrelevant, Dave. She
Exactly.
has a permit.
Right, exactly,
And
I
that's the
agree,
question.
d'accord, oui.
have you greased the skids with your neighbors? Do your neighbors know
Oh, shoot.
the use is gonna change? Just from my curiosity.
My neighbors are just exactly where they were before.
To the best
Nothing
of your
really
knowledge,
changed.
they're behind you on this?
Yeah.
Okay. That's good to know. Okay.
I think we should thank Shelley for being conscientious enough to bring this matter to our attention. And we appreciate her patience. She's been here for 3 meetings now, and we finally give her the guidance that she
Well,
deserves.
Now,
It's
run,
been great, actually, to come.
run.
But we're so vested in the community. My kids grew up here, and the whole family is, just wanting to keep the house for generations and a part of Green Mountain Falls the way they grew up. And so it's a really exciting thing.
That's great. Well, thank you.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
your patience with us.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're not getting rid of me.
Moving on, number 6, old business. 6865 Howard Street.
So she has nothing more to do.
Yeah, she's good.
I submitted the septic as well, because I
Yeah.
remembered at one of the meetings we talked about that might be coming part of the packet.
You got a good
Of record.
septic system shown.
Thank you.
She may want to stick around for 6C.
We might actually make it a bit quicker.
Yes.
I'm
Let's
just
go
gonna,
for by 7.
I'm not going
Let's
to.
go home. What, Eric, go home?
No, I'm good till 9.
Oh, good, yeah, that's right, you turn into a pumpkin.
Two of those two tonight.
Okay.
All right, 6865 Howard Street, rebuild carport, Tad Littman contractor, continue discussion of vacating lot line.
They did, as far as I heard.
Jeez.
I called him,
You spoke with them?
talked with Ted, and he said the lot line was vacated.
Yeah.
He had no problem building a, he has no problem.
He's gonna do that, where does he put it to meet?
That I don't know. I told him to contact Town Hall, and I don't know if he's contacting anybody in that.
Okay, because I think this was part of what, in this part of why the town attorney kicked it back to us.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
it was the location of this infringing
right.
on
On
the right of way.
So does he need to submit the, shoot, the plans?
Probably with the, where the
Well-
shed's gonna be, right?
Just for the,
Just for the
just
shed.
for the carport.
Yeah,
Have you talked to him, Eric?
I haven't seen him, no.
I ran into him at the Bucky Duck, and he told me that the lot line was vacated.
Do we need some documentation on that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, I don't, it just, I thought he would have contacted somebody with him.
Did anybody ever get his email or his phone or?
I just called Mucky Duck, I just talked to the Mucky Duck.
but I thought we may have the email on this. Well, the assessor's site, we can get as much email as this.
Well, we've done that for him.
Not for him, but.
For the property owner.
Maybe it's in my email.
What are we looking for, guys?
Well, we've addressed, I mean, the entire package was kicked back, I think primarily for the carport, but then also on the vacating of the lot line. In reading in chapter 17.
Yeah.
That we found the 3 ways to vacate a lot line. And one seems to be relatively
Wait
easy.
a minute, we have testimony that the lot line is no longer there. Why are we discussing?
Because I just haven't. I
We
just
can be
haven't-
done with the lot line, but
Okay,
there was also kickback because of the location.
that's correct.
Is that resolved?
We can address that.
Okay. I'm good with
I
that.
believe that the owner agreed to move, the contractor agreed to move the carport to the north to remove it from encroaching on the right of way.
We just have to
Making
get a
a
hold
new
of that.
construction, does that need to meet the setback requirement?
Yes.
Your house is done.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, it's,
Sure.
it's
We
new
talked
construction,
about
it
this.
has to meet the setback.
That's the site plan there. Where do you put that carport and meet the setbacks?
Well, you might be able to get a variance to actually get it, but,
That would be in order.
because, I mean, he can build it, he just needs to get a variance, and that's not uncommon for a carport.
Correct. That would be appropriate, I think, in this situation. I haven't seen, I mean, from what I've heard, that sounds like the way to go with this.
I agree, and it sounds like they're totally willing to do that. It's a little bit more expensive, but in the whole scheme of things, $250 for a variance is
Yeah.
totally ridiculous.
And a little more time.
Well, yeah, but if he's, it sounds like he's gonna be working on the house, and he doesn't really care about the carport for a while. So,
Doesn't sound like he's ready to go tomorrow anyway.
I haven't even seen him over there yet, so.
So what does he need to do?
Sounds like he needs to move the carport and apply for a variance,
Okay, so-
If it's not
If
gonna
he
be
can't meet the setback.
right, which looks
It
like.
doesn't look like he won't be able to.
No, it looks like he won't be able to.
Correct.
You
What is-
had double negative in there.
There's a lot line, there was a lot line vacation issue in this.
Yeah.
Has that lot line been vacated?
Yes.
Yes.
That's
Has it
Well,
been-
he says it has, we haven't seen proof.
Well, he can't,
I
he
see.
just can't go, he just can't go down to the county and say, I did away with my lot line. He has to get some documentation from you to take to the county so that he can have it recorded. So that it's officially, it's no longer a lot line. It's taken two lots and there's one on.
Right.
So, but he has to get some documentation from the town
Right.
in order to get.
Or the county needs information from the town, directions from the town.
Right, well, but the point is that
Yeah.
he takes that information down to them and when he pays a recording fee. I don't know, $15, something like that. But the point is that the town, you're really obligated to give him some documentation so that he can prove to the county that in fact the lot line has been vacated.
Mac, the lot line no longer exists.
So
Went
he's,
to the El Paso County Assessor's site, there is no lot line on the assessor's map, I'm sorry.
did you
You're
check that?
beating a dead horse, it was,
Dick, did you look that up and saw
yes,
that?
I looked it up.
There's
Because he told me there was no
Well, the
lot.
chairman brought it up because he read something in the legal description on the assessor's site, which is no longer applicable. The lot line has been vacated, it's not on the assessor's map, you can look for yourself, it's no longer an issue, there is no lot line to vacate.
But we didn't know that, we didn't know that at the last meeting, so all of a sudden
Dick,
somebody found out that
if
it
there-
was already vacated.
If there's verbiage in the assessor's office that refers to that even if it's no longer applicable, that needs to be changed.
You want to change the legal description. That's
Correct.
right, that's between lawyers, we got nothing to do with that. The fact is, we said the land should be vacated, it has been vacated, he's met our requirements. No lot line vacation needs to be done, it's already completed. So now you can address the setback, but don't spend any more time talking about the lot line. Come on, guys. It's done.
I guess I'm a doubting Saul, I want to see it,
No, it's not.
but that isn't gonna happen tonight.
Okay, good.
I want to really see it.
So, what's that? Right there. So this is Howard, and you got 68, 65 right there, you got that 75 and 20, and you got a lot line going right down the middle. I just pulled it up on the assessor's website.
There is a lag in getting GIS updated.
I can't explain this, what I saw.
Were you looking at the interactive one?
Yeah.
The interactive one doesn't show interior lot lines.
You have to go to the,
What do you mean?
The interactive one doesn't show interior lot lines.
you have to go to the GIF.
Yeah,
As far as the last meeting of the 12th, there was a lot line that we showed in our paperwork.
yeah, I just pulled it up on here from their website.
And we had a
It's a
question,
sliver.
and the question at the last meeting was, he needs to be informed that he has to vacate that lot line.
I apologize, I was looking at the interactive site that shows no lot line. You have found another site that shows, I apologize, I have not seen this site.
Yeah, I've noticed that the interactive one doesn't show interior lot lines most of the time, so.
So I called him and he said that he had already vacated the lot line. That's all I know, that he said that he vacated the lot line.
Yeah, and it doesn't, just because it's still on here doesn't mean anything, it probably takes a while to get it up to.
Well, we can request confirmation that
You know, he may have vacated it in his mind.
No, I understand. Yeah.
No, he is dedicated to the fact that that lot line is.
We have had a couple people.
But and, you know, you do the guy a disservice if you don't insist that he have it recorded.
And we
Otherwise,
have,
if he tries to, or his heirs try to sell that property, then there's gonna be a problem. And your whole function is to avoid that.
and we have had a couple people in the last year and a half that somehow got lot lines vacated without any involvement from the town. I don't know how they did it,
Well,
but they did. And it probably some, yeah, I don't know, it happened.
I went down to Colorado Springs and
Well,
did it, no problem.
but point is that, you know, if you have the opportunity
Yeah.
to do that, you really should.
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's possible he was able to get it vacated without any, it would just be proof, but he may have got it vacated without.
Well, but you know, it's almost the same issue as the folks that we talked to at the workshop
Yeah,
that are paying, commercial rates for a residential lot.
right,
That's insane. But it happened.
yeah,
Well, you know, if you can, if something can happen here to avoid that,
yeah,
then it should happen.
agreed.
Well, I apologize, guys, because I jumped the gun because I relied on the interactive site to be correct.
Apology
And
accepted.
now I'm gonna look at it with suspicion, because you pointed out there's a GIF that shows lot lines that are not on the interactive
Right.
site.
Bear in mind, my house sits on 2 lots, or it used to. When I bought it, the GIS site showed 2 lots. And I think it was in 2000, it was supposed to have been vacated, like documentation of that. And it wasn't until 2000, it was like 2 or 3 years ago, that it got changed.
Yeah.
And I went and looked at it, and it's 4R. I no longer have lots 4 and 5, I have lot 4R.
It's that one on the bottom of the.
So it's been revised.
Yes.
But
So
our problem
it
is-
doesn't happen overnight.
No, because everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah.
Frankly, you're dealing with the county, you know, not everybody in the county is motivated to do exactly what they're supposed to do. So therein lies the problem. So you need to follow up on this.
My feeling is that the GIS is out of date and the parcel map is correct.
We're neither one's correct.
Section 17-132 explains how, or details how the planning commission would assist a property, it would address a property owner requesting vacation of the.
I understand, so we can still have not received a request for the planning commission to act on vacating a lot line. So
I
that's,
will,
in the minutes, we should put that the
Number one-
owner must submit to the planning commission a request to vacate the interior lot line.
let's
And
ask
we act
Renee,
on
let's ask Renee to send the property owner a letter asking for the
Okay,
request.
but for the minutes,
For the minutes, yes.
okay,
I'll send it.
owner to submit request to planning commission to vacate lot line for PC action. What we do is we look at it, we send it up to the board writes a resolution. If that's still a process.
That's one of the processes. There's an easier process.
If I remember correctly, the meeting that we had.
Yeah.
That when he was here before the board, before the planning commission, he was told that he had to do that. And I think since then he did do it, because he said he did it. So all I'm saying is what he said.
Well, yeah, if
He
he
was
would
aware-
prove
he
that
was
he's
aware of it
vacated, then.
No, is that
It
the
was on the right process.
contractor or the property?
That's the contract.
Yeah, so the contractor can't do it. Only
Or-
the property owner.
But he was aware of the fact that it needed to be done, so it could very well have been, that's all I'm saying.
Okay. Line has indeed been vacated. So,
Not-
for the minutes, I've got owner to submit request to planning commission to vacate the lot line for planning commission action, or submit proof that the lot line indeed has been vacated. How's that?
Sounds good.
not to mess with this, but when the county assessor came to speak to us at the Citizens College thing, he was very proud of his website. And his claim is that the interactive site is the latest data. That may be why you don't see the lot lines that they have been.
But we pulled up ones before that have interior lot lines, and we know they have interior lot lines, and it
Okay.
doesn't show. So,
Okay.
If you go to the assessor's site where you want to search for property,
Right.
you need to click on the link at the bottom that discloses a disclaimer.
Okay. He was so proud that he was so up to
Well,
date.
it deals with the interactive map.
Well, this is a good question for the assessor.
Yeah.
What should we as a planning commission use for our data source? The
I can-
interactive site,
I have to contact the
GIS.
assessor tomorrow, so I can get that, I can ask that.
which one should we use? The interactive site or the link to their GIS?
Yeah, and I can get information, tie that in with the legal description.
Mike says that the
I think.
interactive site is the latest data.
I think we need a document from the owner of the contractor. They've been,
Yeah.
it's been vacated.
Well,
Typically, you would get that from the assessor.
if
The
the assessor
assessor's one
says,
would say it's been vacated.
if the assessor says that the interactive site is the latest data, then there is no lot line to vacate, as I originally stated.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is that the interactive site only shows the exterior lines of the lot. It doesn't show the
You can
interior
ask
lines.
It shows, yeah,
You can have
I can do that. I'll copy you guys.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. We can ask that too.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right, so we beat the lot line.
Yeah.
What did we decide on,
I thought we approved this already. Would be,
for the carport, as far as
Oh.
the bids?
he just needs to move back. Or he needs to apply for a variance if he can't meet setback.
Does he need to show us a new drawing?
Yeah.
He needs to show us a new drawing of where that's gonna be.
Okay, well, we have names in that.
When you send it,
Yeah.
then
So this is both. This is good.
Okay. 6 feet.
6 feet, I think.
6 feet. Columbine deck again.
We did that.
Yeah, we addressed that in the minutes.
So 6 feet? Wow, we almost made it 6 feet.
That's awesome.
Do we have any correspondence? I don't think we do we?
Nothing new.
Cool.
And the reason for, did we determine at the last planning commission meeting that the carport being in the right of way was a non-conforming use, and if that use had been abandoned for over a year?
Mhm.
Okay. We didn't include that in the correspondence.
Yeah, I think we need to explain why.
Why? Yeah.
You know, I was just thinking, Mac, I kind of wish that as many people would show up to talk about short-term rentals, as show up to talk about the trail. Because the trail affected what, 30, 50 houses? And short-term rentals affect everyone?
Well, but, no, it potentially affects the cap.
Oh, yeah.
And that may or may not be more than the affected trail owners,
You're right.
or trail residents.
Oh, I opened the door, but we don't have a little thing to pulls out.
The doorstop.
No, the thing that pulls out the latch.
Okay.
Renee has that.
You should give us something.
It's right, it's probably somewhere.
We're not rescheduling, we're right now.
Short-term rentals.
You put it on there to edit the minutes. Remember he edited the minutes for Columbine? Up at the top, he edited 112 minutes. That's what that was for.
Dick, do you have the items that we're going to talk about from the 19th?
Where are we on the agenda here?
On the agenda, we're on 6C, short-term rental discussion.
Okay, that's this other big fat folder here. I sent you notes from our last workshop, and there were a few items left over. Last workshop was on the 19th of January. And the items left over.
One of the items would have been what criteria for when to deny an application.
Oh, we did discuss that a little bit.
Yeah, we started on that.
That was item 5 in the notes. You got your notes in front of you? I thought we finished that.
No,
No, because
we didn't really have to even get started.
Okay.
Because valid reasons for denial posed by the budding neighbors, I think we just kind of glossed over that almost. And we definitely talked about the number of complaints received by Town Hall and Marshall. But I think that's almost gonna have to be kind of subjective because, you know, one person could have received 3 complaints when someone's dog was loose. Another person could have received 3 complaints because they had a fire going outside. I mean, and they were about to catch something on fire. And
Well, yeah, and I suppose it depends on what, how egregious the complaint was.
Yeah.
And that probably is gonna have to be left to the discretion of the board.
I think so.
So when, you know, if you've got half a dozen different complaints from the same property, then somebody needs to sit down with the guy and have a come to Jesus session with them, or deny, or revoke his permit.
Or if, for instance, someone keeps having a fire in a fire pit and it's huge or a bonfire at their house, and you say, hey, you have to get rid of everything they can have a bonfire with or a fire pit with if you want to keep your place.
Well, this is a 2-part, number 5 is a 2-part question. This, or statement, discussing grounds for denying a short-term rental,
Yeah, the initial application.
the initial application, or
You're right.
canceling an existing permit. So what are we gonna, what do you wanna start with
Which
first?
one do you start? Yeah, where do you start?
I think we should, well, I think the grounds for denying, I mean, I think they do have some things in common, but a lot of things that you would be canceling an existing permit for, you're not gonna know at the start.
Correct.
So,
Well,
Yeah, somebody's going to abuse that privilege.
I disagree. There's, first of all, there's the letters that are issued that state how many people are for and against. They have to be researched. If 5 people, the abutting neighbors, come up with 5 legitimate reasons, not just some cockamamie story that, oh, they're gonna block my parking space, which we can't solve in the beginning, or they're gonna have their dogs crap all over my lawn, which they don't know. That's, we can address all that and still grant the permit. It then comes down to why we wouldn't grant the permit is if they didn't come before us with their CDOR license, or they didn't get a business license and show that to us in the first place, and they didn't pay their fees or their fines. Of course, they didn't pay the fees and the fines, they wouldn't be coming before us to begin with. But there are those reasons that we would have a site survey or something, that their parking is impossible to do. It'll affect the neighbors.
So, I mean, what, are we on the initial application?
Yeah, we're on the
Denying
denying the
application.
special use permit.
So,
There was talk about properties that still have a cesspool, I remember one night we were discussing that issue.
That's another issue. Cesspools still can be maintained. That's something that the owner has to be apprised of and aware of, that there could be a overload on their septic system. And I don't think they're gonna wanna do that. So if they have a house that's and usually your little houses, your 2-bedroom, 1-bath, are gonna have cesspools, and somebody who wants to rent that as a vacation rental has to realize that there's a maximum number of people that go in the house. And that's how the regional looks at it, as far as how many people, how many bedrooms they have.
Yeah, but that's not always the case.
No, it's not, because you can have 2 bedrooms, that's why we're putting the cap on
Right.
how many people go in the house.
Because like
Based
my
on that.
place has
Right.
some ginormous septic tank but I have 1 bedroom.
But the onus, as we discussed, the onus is on the owner of the house, or the burden is on the owner of the house. If he wants to fail his cesspool and put in a $15,000 to $20,000 new septic system, then
Right.
that's what he has to be aware of.
But I think Mac had a good point last time, is that if the cesspool fails, it affects everyone. It doesn't just
It
affect
has the
them.
potential to, yes.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it has a very good potential to.
Well, the easiest, example would be, Grandview on the north side of Grandview. Every building on Grandview, on the north side of Grandview is behind a retaining wall. Most of those retaining walls are in the right of way. If that property, or any of those properties, have a cesspool and it fails, in most cases, the only way to access the failed system is by going over the retaining wall. Now, if somebody is going to have to tear down a retaining wall to access the cesspool and put in a coded septic system, and then put it back the way it was, we're talking about a lot more than just $20,000 for it.
Well, they may not be able to do that. They may have to put a holding
Well,
tank in.
and I suppose that might be a grounds for denial.
or
The potential problem that can result from a failed cesspool doesn't affect just that property. It affects the properties on both sides, the poor guy that has to deal with it across the street, the guy that lives behind him, it affects everybody in the neighborhood.
I think as residents of Green Mountain Falls, we're well aware of what our cesspool is and what our
Most of
septic
us
is.
are, most of us are.
And somebody who comes out of town and wants to rent their property, or they want to have an investment property and rent it out as a vacation rental, they're not aware of the fact, or the stress.
That may not be readily apparent.
So,
Right, exactly, and they have to be brought to their attention.
I'd like to propose that if a residence has a cesspool, they cannot be a short-term rental. It's hard and fast.
What if they get it inspected? What if it's inspected?
They can get it,
You know what, if they go to the county health department and they call and have their septic system inspected, they're gonna be real disappointed with the news they get.
Do they pump those?
They can, you can pump a cesspool, you should.
But they're
So
they're
maybe
for all
that,
intents and purposes outlawed. And the county is not gonna drive along every street in Green Mountain Falls and point out which property has a cesspool and make the changes. They're not gonna do
Well,
that.
you're right about that.
But if it fails, or if something happens with that property that gives it a potential fail, they're definitely gonna have their say.
Well, Mike McCarthy said that in the next 3 years, there's gonna be a big change in these cesspools. Right now, though, he said, if your cesspool is working, and if you sell your house and it gets inspected, and the cesspool you have access to it, you don't have to dig up anything or rearrange or redo, then you're okay.
I tried with 3 different mortgage companies, just asking around. I didn't find one that would give you a mortgage with a cesspool.
I agree.
They won't.
You're right.
So-
You're exactly right.
And I
it's a
also called the
non-issue.
health department, or not the health department, Pikes Peak Regional Building, I said, if I have a cesspool and I do major work,
That has nothing to
you
do with
guys-
use.
well, no, but I asked if I do major work on my, system, when I have a cesspool, how does that affect me? And they didn't seem to be real happy about that. You know, like approving stuff if you have a cesspool.
It's not up, regional's not up to regional. it's up to
Yeah,
regional.
but
Is-
still,
Well,
Is
depends on
this a
the
special,
if
is
you
this a
have-
special use permit?
right,
Okay.
so we can deny it for a cesspool.
Yes.
I think it's just, we don't need to question
Yeah.
it. We just need to say,
Good,
If that's a
I agree, I agree.
We're putting a limit on the number of nights, we're proposing that?
Yeah.
We propose that,
we're putting a limit on the minimum number.
yes.
We did not discuss it.
If one,
Why don't we
if
have
one
that-
wants to discourage vacation rentals, then having a cesspool would be one way to eliminate a lot of requests.
Yeah.
I agree. Now, how about parking?
Wait a minute, what did you just say, David?
I just said that if people want to put a cap or a moratorium or whatever they're talking about, having houses they use for STRs, if they have a cesspool, that would be one way of eliminating a lot of houses that may want to come up. for vacation
Certainly
rentals.
would, but it's definitely grounds for denial.
It's great, yeah, that's all I'm saying.
I would go.
But that's a pretty radical move. If you got a cesspool, you can't have a.
It's not a
Certainly
radical
not, certainly not.
Dick, it's a special use permit, it's not a give it to anybody who wants it.
Understand.
Dick, if I had a cesspool, I would never even think about renting out my house for short-term rental because it's just not, it's not a good idea.
Why?
No, I'll
Because
tell
you don't,
Dick,
when you rent it
The
out,
cesspool is serving the
I'll
current
tell-
occupancy.
I'll tell you
If
why.
the current occupancy stays the same,
But
what's
Dick,
the risk?
Dick, I'll tell you
if
what.
if you ask the health department, they will tell you that your cesspool is not serving your property. I don't care if it works or not, it is not serving your property. It's not a coded system and it's dangerous.
Let me tell you why I think that it's a very important thing. I just spent $32,000 replacing my leach field and part of my septic system at the Creekside Inn. The main failure for that leach field was because I don't care if I'm the owner, Eric owns his house, and he has a cesspool. He's gonna be damn concerned when he puts down that sink. No matter who I have in that Creekside Inn, no matter what rules I have in my vacation rentals, these people don't care. They're gonna put whatever they can down there, and 9 out of 10 times of the failure of those septic systems or the blockage is because of feminine hygiene products, grease from bacon grease that they poured down, they
Disposable
don't care.
diapers.
Yeah, they do not care. Disposable cloth rag, they don't care. And that's one of the reasons why I.
Okay, and, yeah, what I'm hearing is, David, you're proposing that if a home is on a septic, then it should be denied.
No,
Cesspool.
no,
No, cesspool.
cesspool.
I mean, cesspool, I'm sorry.
it's not eligible.
I think that's what all of us are saying.
Okay, I'll write it right in the minutes. Okay,
I mean, if, you can't get a mortgage on a house with a cesspool. You can't get,
no, I agree,
Yeah,
I agree.
it's-
Yes,
Good.
fine.
Okay, so that's the first one we have for denying.
and I think we've already talked about parking, and that's not gonna be,
But,
that's,
yeah, I'm good with what we have on parking, is that we'll evaluate that on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
Would you consider failure to comply with 100% of the requirements for the conditional use permit?
What do you mean?
In other words, you set up a set of rules, and if they can't comply with every one of them, then they don't get their
Well, we gotta figure out.
I can't see doing anything but that.
Yeah.
Here are the requirements.
okay.
because we'll be given minimum.
So that they have to comply with 100% of the requirements for that conditional use permit. Okay. Thank you.
That's for applying, that's for the application.
Right. So we go on to what the neighbors think of the conditional use permit.
So David made the comment of if the neighbors come up with good reasons
Yeah, not
as to
just.
what, so give me an example.
I
Give me an
will go,
example that we have not already addressed.
I'll go back to a house, to give you an example, I'll go back to a house that I applied for a vacation rental use for Larry Smoot, that had a single driveway that could hold 3 cars, but you know what, we didn't park on the street, but we sent out 5 letters. Don Ellis, no problem. The one on the right is a rental, it's a year-round rental, it's a little cottage. Back in 2012, I hadn't rented the house for over a year, and I was told that I had to reapply for because I rented it as a year-round rental. So I had to reapply for the special use permit. Okay, I did. The next door neighbor wrote back and opposed it because she didn't like the fact that there was gonna be vacation renters coming in and out of her driveway and degrading her area that was, well, I wrote back and called her up and I said, I forgot her name. I said, it's been a vacation rental for 4 years already, 5 years. And nothing has happened. I've maintained that driveway perfectly, plowed it, graded it, kept the fence line up. And, oh, I didn't know that. Yes, I approve. Somebody's gonna come up and complain about noise. They're gonna complain about the dogs. They're gonna complain about parking on their side of the street. There was a house on Howard Street, next to Ben Stevens' house on the right. It was a little house down below that didn't have any parking. He had also applied for a vacation rental, was approved, he never did rent it. Or he does rent it, actually. Let's find out if he's paying the CBR. But there was a house next to it that complained that they were gonna take up his parking spaces. It never happened. I've had houses that had noise complaints. They called either me or the police. I was notified, I apprised of it. I went down there myself and told the people, as I usually tell them, that the sound carried. I mean, these are all what-if things that are gonna happen.
Yeah, those are
But
reasons why you lose an existing or an already granted.
right.
But why do we deny it? So
Why would you deny it? So far, we have Cessna.
I think one reason.
Why would a neighbor deny it? Because those things that I mentioned, they maybe think that parking is gonna be encroached, they think there's gonna be noise, they
No,
think
you
there's gonna
don't
be.
deny it.
How
Yeah,
about this,
but in the-
how about
You
this
can't
one?
deny it.
How about this one? Somebody buys a piece of property in a residential neighborhood. And they live there for several years and they buy it because it's quiet. There's only so many neighbors around. Now it changes to where his next door neighbor has a couple of dozen strangers occupying that property all summer long.
What's all summer, Matt, just out of
Oh,
curiosity?
summer, mid-May
2 months.
to the end of August.
It's a
2
2 month-
vacations.
It's a
Memorial
2
Day.
that's a 2.5 month season, right?
No,
Or 3. Well, typically,
3 months.
typically
June,
the
July,
season
August.
starts at the Air Force Academy graduation and stretches to about Labor Day. Maybe it doesn't always get too late. So that's 3 months. And I understand that there's not gonna be 100% occupancy, for the whole summer. But the point is that the guy is when people buy a house, typically they spend as much money as they'll ever spend in their life. And so they have a huge, what they consider a huge investment in a piece of property that they expect, they have certain expectations. I mean, you know, nobody buys a house in Green Mountain Falls just on a whim.
No, they buy it because it's a choice to live here.
Exactly. So when the way that they live, the way that they interact with their neighbors changes significantly, that's grounds for concern. And so, you know, if they have, just so happened that neighbor had a run-in with 2 or 3 of the tenants that were at Smoot's, they're gonna be real skeptical about ever seeing that happen again. So, you know, so if another property close by, within line of sight, say, comes up for vacation rental, they're gonna have something to say about that.
With that, Mac, just to play the devil's advocate here, I agree with you. But here's the situation. These vacation rentals are 2.5, 3 months, and you said the occupancy is 9%. Most of these houses are houses that are able to be vacation rentals, meaning they're in top shape. And they're catering to a group of people that qualify. They're an upper, I don't want to be, I'm not class minded, they're an upper class, they have credit cards on file.
Discretionary funds.
Right.
They qualify. So I'm not saying that they're not gonna have a few drinks and get loud and noisy, but they're here for a week, 3 days, they're gone. And then smooth sailing for the rest of the, so 1 out of 2 of those, you get a little problem. And then what happens the rest of the winter? They're empty. I live on the street, I'm the only house in Douglas Way, I live there all by myself.
I see your point.
I would like turn those tables, so I live with a lot of vacation rentals, or a lot of the people just come in the summer, and I would be frustrated if they sold their home and put a permanent person in.
That's what I was sharing.
Because I
That's a double-edged sword.
But the thing is that, Lori, where you live, they're not short-term rentals. They're, the folks that live next to you, above you in the old schoolhouse,
right, but it's the,
it's their family that stays there. There's not,
there is a short-term rental below me.
but there's not,
Okay,
there's not 15 different families showing up there.
their
All summer
family
long.
has family.
But I've shared in a previous meeting as well that I have a duplex behind me. Each side is long-term rental. And then David's rental that has sold since, but was across the street historically from the time I can say that I've lived there.
No problem.
I've had so much trouble with, the renters behind me with their dogs and with them plowing down my fence, and it's been a nightmare. I don't have a complaint about what was happening across the street, and during the winter it was quiet.
Let me bring up one more.
Not to say everyone's
Let me bring
experiencing
up
the same.
one more valid point. And this goes back to what we decided as far as who manages the properties. I live in town, I'm on top of my property. You get somebody who's gonna be out of Monument or California managing properties or a website, they don't know what the hell's going on. So you never know what you're gonna get, so I don't know, I'm.
So then it would
it's a
be
matter
a case by case, leaving a capacity for you as a board to do a review where you could critically think about the specific situation, leave a parameter where you have some flexibility to be able to do that in each case.
So,
I mean, there's a good point in that you may have a short-term rental that has perfect guests, nobody ever has any problems with it. You could have a long-term neighbor, doesn't even have to be a rental. It could be somebody who owns it and.
Right, and I had that
You
problem.
guys just bump heads and,
Yeah.
you're always at odds and.
Oh, I don't have that
So
problem, but
it can
I've
go
had
either
noise
way.
issues with regular
I think
neighbors.
I understand, you can't guarantee the quality of the individual that you're renting to, whether it's all year long
Right,
or a week at a time.
things will happen
So-
probably.
I've had more
regularly.
problem with long-term rentals than I had with my short-term people, because as I said before, I qualified, and the rates that I get at $150 to $450 a night have qualified the people that I get.
Well,
What's so funny?
I guess I would argue that on that point, that just because people have money
No,
doesn't make them quality individuals. Every member of the Italian mafia, every member of the Russian mafia, which is a lot worse, all have 3, 4 credit cards. They got lots of money. But that doesn't make them any less miserable.
Hey guys, so I think we should be very careful with denying at the beginning the vacation rental. The cesspool is one thing, okay? But all these other things, when they come up for review, because they're gonna come up every year, then we'll have a separate thing that says we can't accept this, you
So-
know? But,
Well, there has to be complaints.
right.
Yeah,
because
there has to be.
I actually have I think a very I'm not gonna say valid, but I think it's a good reason. we should be looking at denying people. If the owner of the house has been living there and they are not responsible people, they get tons of complaints from the marshal, from their neighbors, for noise complaints, everything else. Why should we be letting them have a short-term rental when they're not responsible neighbors in the first place?
How do we?
How do you quantify that?
Yeah, how do you?
I think you can ask the marshal what's been going on in the house previously.
That's the renewal process.
No,
No,
this is for
that would be, I could see that being applicable up front. You know, if you
Yeah.
have somebody who,
Holy crap.
no,
You're gonna be judging Jerry for somebody that applies for.
no, we set fixed criteria.
Yes.
If you've had 5 noise complaints in the last 6 months, year, whatever.
Oh, with you
Oh.
living there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You haven't demonstrated
Okay,
respect for your neighbors.
STR, they're not living there, right?
No, but
Right, this is.
So they're gone.
A residence,
They're gone.
the bad people are
So-
gone, the bad people still own it.
So this is an improvement. If he
That's
rents
what
it out,
I was
It very well could be. It very
I
well
was
could be.
thinking the same thing.
I suppose that's a constraint of logic, but the point is that if you have an irresponsible neighbor, he's gonna be just as irresponsible renting it to the short term.
What's to make you think that he will become responsible now?
Exactly, so I, that certainly should be grounds for denial.
I think if you looked at the person, if he had another vacation rental, you could look at how he handled that one. He just barely, met the criteria, so want the second one. That might be, in other words, everybody's born without sin until you
Well-
sin, and then you can judge.
Going on that, I mean, part of the purpose of this entire exercise is to gain control over it. And it's much like the donkey variants. Give him a shot, see how he can do.
Yeah.
Applying that mentality, that reining in that, we don't have to wait for an annual review to revoke that.
No.
So we throw in, the ability to be able to revoke that if, at some threshold.
Well, it's like
If
a.
that's a yearly review.
So here we are,
At a minimum, there's a yearly review, but
No, I-
we have the ability to review
At any time.
at any time and establish that criteria, noise, dogs.
I think that we should name this for what it is. We're calling them SDRs, that's a short-term rental. They used to be called special use permits. I think now they should be called, again, conditional use permits. And the conditional use should not be, well, let's wait a year for a review. If all of a sudden this guy is getting more complaints, then he's gonna come up after the summer, or beginning of the summer, or middle of the summer, and have that revoked. I mean, how long does it go on?
I think that's a great
Look,
point, because
it's
that
defining that up
gives them,
front.
that gives that guy a chance to prove they can do it and be a good neighbor while doing a short-term rental, but it also gives the neighbors the power to say, this is awful. Like, they're loud every night, there's parties every night, and we don't, it's not, shouldn't be here. I
Should
think
there be
that-
like a warning, like give them one chance to fix it?
Well,
Because sometimes things happen, like,
oh yeah, I mean.
It's not
if you have
exactly
one
an
bad
all the
week,
time.
You shouldn't lose.
I have one
Yeah.
question I wanna ask Matt. Of all your reasons for putting a cap on these houses, for wanting to moratorium, for wanting to not have, what is your main reason? You think it's gonna affect values? You think it's gonna affect
I
the?
think eventually it will. We've been extremely lucky in Green Mountain Falls, especially because we're about the most unique community up and down UPass, from Manitou to the other side of Woodland Park. There isn't another place like Green Mountain Falls.
No, there isn't.
So consequently, even though property values suffered greatly in Colorado Springs on the east side of Highway 25, they lost value, they lost gobs of value. The further you got west of I-25, the more stable the property values were in the recovery. Green Mountain Falls wasn't affected anywhere near as much as the communities around us. So our property values didn't suffer as badly as they did in Manitou or as badly as they did in Woodland
I
Park.
don't think they
But
ever will.
and I would argue
We're,
that,
we're a choice to live here, and that's what it.
Well, what I see as a problem is if you change it
Change the character.
way much more than.
The character of Green Mountain Falls is a resort area.
we are built on tourism and we are built on stability and
It
income
certainly is, but.
from the time we were created as Green Mountain Falls, as a summer resort community, whether it was a tent or a cabin, and it's what makes us great. I think economically, it gives us strength, it gives us, more stability as markets change. It
Well,
puts
and
us in a different.
I agree with that, I agree with that to a degree, but the point is that historically, Green Mountain Falls was a resort and a vacation community for farmers from
Kansas.
Oklahoma, Kansas, Iowa, Texas, Oklahoma, wherever they came from.
And that didn't meet short-term rental criteria.
No, they planted their crops in the spring, and then they brought the family here, and somebody else took care of the weeding and the cultivating, whatever, and then they went back and harvest time, which was about the time the kids went back to school. And those families owned those houses, and really some of them still do. Point is that it changes significantly when the population becomes strangers.
Okay, transient.
Let me bring out one point. Of all the houses in Green Mountain Falls, not short-term rental, but of all the houses that are owned by somebody and lived in by the owner, how many houses are owned by somebody and rented year-round to somebody? And I ask that question because these houses that are owned by people and rent them out, the damage and the property devaluation of these people who live in these houses, and believe me, I've taken over after they've left, after the winter. I've had to spend as much money as I collected for that winter month, 7, 8, 9 months to fix this house back up. They don't care. The houses that are taken over by vacation rental people are maintained by me, they're maintained by the property, they're cleaned every day, they know who's gone, they make sure the house is in good shape, good nick, and the houses are usually empty all winter.
And they
And
don't
if
take
do
the same
rent it
wear and
out,
tear.
whether it's a short-term rental, and they have more problems, whether it's a year-round rental or a winter rental.
The wear and tear is very different.
You're unique in the respect that you run a first-class operation. I know that, and I've steered numerous people your way to do just what you do. But not everybody's like that. Now, there are a few more like you around, but there are not all of them. And the point is that if profit is the only motive for owning a property in Green Mountain Falls, then the whole community is gonna suffer.
Well, the houses on Douglas Way, where I live, the houses that are taken over by Scott and Sherry Hopper, these two houses, because they are owned by a landlord that didn't give a damn, these houses were deteriorating. They were almost condemnable, for that matter. They were taken over by Sherry and Scott Hopper and fixed up. They enhanced the neighborhood, they enhanced the property values, and they have quality people. They had one problem in the very beginning, and some nutcase was running around screaming and yelling, and that was taken care of and addressed. But
They're not gonna make a profit if it's awful.
Well,
Right.
I agree with that, but the point is that the character of the community still changes. And I know that Scott and Holly, whatever, I know they're first class.
So, President, do you think your property value has deteriorated because you have all these vacations?
No, it hasn't, but there's less than 5%, actually, there's less than 3% of STRs in the whole town. And so, right now, no, it won't affect. But you know what, if it gets to 20, it will.
I don't
Guaranteed
think
it will.
it's ever gonna get to that.
Well,
So there'd be no
then
reason
why would
to
you
put a
have,
cap.
then why would you have a problem with putting a cap on it?
Yeah.
If it's never gonna get to 10, why not have a cap of 10?
How many houses would be 20%?
120.
What the
Well,
revenue is,
never, never.
160.
the revenue is
It's
so
not
great for the
160,
town, the
it's
town
20%.
benefits from the
That's
revenue.
120.
And it helps us keep everything nice.
Do you have any vacation rentals by you, Dick?
Yes,
Yeah.
they're no problem. They're managed well, they have no negative impact on our neighborhood at all.
I wouldn't say mine were
How many
because they
adjoining
were
properties?
managed well. I just say that when I was friendly to the people who were staying there, they were friendly back, and that was all it came down to. And everybody who I've had was long-term rentals next to me, it's been awful.
So if a vacation rental does come up, and they get approved, why would we take away their permit? Well, let's discuss that. What would be the reason we would deny them? If they have complaints about large noise complaints, a marshal being called, it's like a liquor license, it goes on the block.
Right.
Yeah, failure to comply with special use
Right.
permit requirements.
Right.
And then it's clearly defining those so that people know what the hurdle is. You know, if you get three noise complaints in X number of months.
Well, I would say we should make it a little bit more stricter than that. Not
Yeah,
stricter, but, to give people a chance, because if you get one bad week, you're done with 3, you're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Like,
true.
I would say,
Consecutive months with.
yeah,
I think you're
consecutive months was
struggling to set a rigid standard. I believe if you're gonna consider canceling a short-term rental special use permit, you need to consider the fact that there's gonna be a variety of reasons come before you. Some of them may be just minor, some may be major. But don't try to set a standard on how many marshals calls, how many
Mostly
how many
negligence.
complaints.
I think we already
You've
discussed
gotta
it.
look
There were
at
probably
what the
by case by case
circumstances
basis.
are before you
so
decide to deny or turn down a renewal.
you're saying if
Well,
someone
like,
gets 10 noise complaints in the summer, that it shouldn't be
I
automatic?
don't think you should try to set a standard.
Why?
I think you have to have a standard.
Don't say
I
10
think that
noises or 5
standard-
noises or 2
No,
noises.
wait,
Come on,
let's
guys,
give Dick,
Yeah.
you haven't explained why.
because there may be mitigating circumstances.
Such as?
There's always mitigating circumstances, Dick, it's a conditional use permit.
But
You have
true
to fulfill all the
negligence, like,
conditions, and you have to be.
But I
someone
think you're
continuously
trying to
shows their
do
negligence,
working too
not
hard
just a
to define,
random circumstance.
to try to define the exact circumstances for kicking somebody down, or canceling their permit.
We're also trying
You're
to make
right,
it simple.
because we'll have-
This is the planning.
We will have solved a lot of that.
We're
Prior
planning,
to the
we want to
application.
be forward looking.
I think you've already addressed noise, you've already addressed septic,
Trash, parking.
trash, your parking, you've
All
already
that's in
addressed
the
those.
initial application.
I don't know why we're still talking about this.
So, what we've done is we said, okay, we want a speed limit regarding trash. We want a speed limit regarding noise. What's the limit?
I don't think you want to say.
Can I give you a list of what I think would be a reason for grounds for revocation?
Yeah,
Revocation.
Non-renewal.
definitely.
Okay. Failure to pay the lodging tax within 2 weeks of the end of any quarter. Failure to pay the renewal fee.
Well, yeah, okay, which is something to be determined, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Over occupancy. In other words, if you've got it figured for 6 people and they put 7 in there, then you pull their ticket. And you know what? You have to draw the line
I know.
someplace. Any trash issue,
And fire issue.
and any of the above, the permit, the conditional use permit can be reinstated without resubmittal, depending on the circumstances. In other words, if the guy's a day late paying his tax,
Yeah.
you don't pull his ticket on it. But, you know, if they're significantly late after 2 weeks, they need to, that's a wake-up call. So, and I think that, you know, if a guy shows up 3 weeks late with his quarterly tax payment, you're gonna have to go through the motions again.
Oh, you won't know that, Phil. You won't know.
Well, no, you won't know it until it happens, but you know what? The end of the quarter comes at the end of every quarter.
I know, but if he doesn't pay his taxes by the 20th of the,
Yeah, you set a line in the sand.
Right, but what I'm saying is that he doesn't pay his taxes, then he's penalized by the CDOR. He's fined, he's penalized a certain amount of percentage, he has to pay a fine for not paying his taxes on time.
That's
But
the state.
we'll only know if we call up and keep checking. Who's gonna keep doing that?
Well, you know what, that's what the renewal fee is for. So that it pays the clerk to do just that.
Okay, good idea.
Set your whole list. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had a number of complaints to be determined filed with the clerk's office. And I suppose that should be the number of complaints and their egregiousness.
Maybe clerk/marshal.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they should
Received by the town.
they should be communicating with one another. If the
Yes.
marshal gets a call and says a complaint at the SDR, he needs to come and tell her. If she gets one that she feels that the marshal needs to be involved in, then she needs to tell him. But
So-
there needs to be some cross communication.
So I'm
Well, we already
assuming,
agreed to that.
I've got an idea to help out Renee with that. Hopefully that I can automate it for her and make it really quick so she can get a report from him and hit a button and it'll say, all these were STRs and there were complaints with STRs. And that's
So
what
there,
she's
there
got.
has to be some communication.
Yeah, Marshall should report, like, whatever.
They need to talk to one another.
Should report that, whatever complaint he gets, should report that.
But I think that
How the
the
hell is
board
Marshall
of
gonna know
planning
it's
commission
vacation?
should be very hard on people who do not comply.
Mhm.
But after it all, this is a special use, it's a conditional use permit, and they need to keep up with the conditions. But, if you're not gonna make people toe the line, then what's the point of us being?
And I feel very comfortable that that's not a problem, because I don't know, other than the taxes and stuff like that, I don't know many problems that come in from these vacation rentals. I think they're pretty much, you live, with how many vacation rentals around?
There's four
Have you
within a
ever had
certain
to
line.
call the marshal for a problem?
No, but again, like I said before, the owners of the short-term rentals near me are in love with their property, they spend as much time as they can. So they're not rented all summer long. The one that's next door to Willie there might be 4 or 5 folks renting there over the course of the summer. Because the owners are there as much as they can be. Same thing with the other side. And then Jesse Stroop has one, that you can spit to from my deck. And my guess is that that's probably gonna be pretty much the same. He hasn't spent a lot of time there, but it's been empty. So, I see him as being the same type of short-term rental owner as Brad and David. And the guy down the bottom of the hill, I don't know yet, I haven't had any.
There's only been one time where noise was.
Noise and trash once.
Well, it seems to me like.
Yeah, noise and trash.
It seems to me like
David
we-
had trash once.
It seems to me like we've turned this meeting into a
Chairman.
workshop.
We've already discussed trash, noise,
Yeah,
for them,
yeah,
in several workshops. Now, here we're talking about it again.
but we haven't quantified
I think
those
that just
issues.
shows how important it is.
It is important.
Okay, give me an example of quantifying one of those.
Quantifying is.
I know, but setting a number.
Setting a number of trash, trash incidents.
Yes, go ahead, give me an example of what you would recommend.
I think 3.
You know,
I think 1 is enough. If it's really serious. Combined with one noise, combined with another. But each time you consider canceling an STR permit, you have to look at everything. You can't just say, well, he had 1 trash complaint, so he's out of here. No.
Well, no, you
Well, I
can't.
know.
It's not reasonable.
In some cases, 1 will be severe enough that, no.
It's ridiculous. 1 is ridiculous.
Like starting a bonfire.
So I caution you not to try to quantify this.
Mhm.
I don't see how we can, I
Well,
don't see
here's-
how we can do it without.
Here's how it doesn't have to be one particular thing. It has to be, 3 times the trash was knocked over and all over the place. 3 times it was a noise complaint, and 4 times it was just, I would say however many complaints this house gets, quantifies it. For example, I've got a bear-proof dumpster, and you know how powerful bears are. I've had them knock over this, the trash is all over the place, but, I go out and clean it up. I see it, I clean it up. If it doesn't happen that the owner doesn't clean this up,
Right.
then we have a violation.
Right.
One time, yeah, the neighbor has to complain, that the only way you get a problem is.
Well,
the
nobody's
neighbor
gonna wrap
complains.
themselves on it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They're just gonna fix the problem and go on, and I understand that, and that's not a problem.
But is a bear getting into your trash?
So
It is,
That's a,
that's a violation in itself.
he may well, if the bear is getting into my trash, it's because he's one powerful son of a gun, and he can, he's ripped open the metal, he's ripped open this, but I clean it up.
Yeah.
But the only way it's a violation, if my neighbor complains about
True.
it and reports it.
But that's how we're gonna collect numbers, is through
So-
complaints.
here's an idea. For a short-term rental, I mean, they're gonna get a fine for, well, I haven't read the whole noise ordinance yet. Fines wise, I haven't seen anything on fines. Do we have something different than it was before?
Certainly could establish some fines.
So, I mean, theoretically, there's fines for noise ordinance, fines for trash.
Yes.
The people who are making the noise are gonna get fined for the noise, but the property owner is gonna get fined for the trash, I would think.
Okay.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
But we could have a sliding scale, you know, you get a warning at a certain point. So let's say you have 3 complaints against your STR, you get a warning. After 5 complaints, then you lose it, you get 1 warning. Cause that's fair. Cause if you got 3 noise complaints and they were given to the people who were there, they're not gonna tell you about it. So you would know. So I think a warning is appropriate.
Herein lies the problem. I don't think any vacation rental is gonna ever have that many problems to begin with. So it's moot.
It very well could be, but
But we do need a reason to deny or revoke a conditional use permit.
Not complying with the
Right.
conditions.
And that,
Well,
and the
that was-
most important,
no,
and
they
the most
have to
important
agree
ones are the ones
to
that
do
Mac mentioned, is not paying taxes, not having a business license, and,
yeah.
Yeah.
so.
But, the not complying with 100% of the conditions or the requirements imposed, so, okay, you can't violate the noise ordinance. So at one time, do you revoke it? So you have to quantify what is grounds for revoking. We don't want to do it in a subjective manner, because then you're gonna say,
Oh, I
well,
thought-
he had 2 and my 1 wasn't that bad.
That's the problem you're gonna get into.
Yeah.
No, you're clearly,
Nobody said this was easy, Dick. Nobody said this was easy.
If you contemplate canceling somebody's STR, you better have a thorough discussion and consider all the evidence.
Right.
How many complaints, what kind, were they
Yeah.
serious?
exactly.
But don't try to quantify it.
Right.
3 garbage, 2 noise, 4 dogs.
And also, most of these things are solvable, they're curable. I mean,
Right.
there's noise, you complain, the neighborhood, the marshal goes over and he stops it.
Yeah, but that happens all the time.
Don't you want to know
It happens
what
all
the
the time.
limit is?
Unlikely, but it does, it can
Well, the
happen.
way-
Yeah, as a property owner, don't you want to know here are the lines, I gotta
What
say.
are, yeah, what are they gonna live with, and what are they not gonna?
So I guess as an owner doing this, then I have a certain amount of jurisprudence over my property where hopefully things aren't gonna come up. If say somebody came in, we didn't expect it, like you said, maybe there's one time when they're noisy or something like that, you're gonna do everything you can to mitigate that and prevent it as an owner.
As an owner, you don't
Hopefully-
know what's gonna happen, the unknown, the X factor.
Right, and as far as the town, I would think that you would want to retain some jurisprudence so that you could look at the circumstance and not say, let's say you have someone that's been great, it's been a wonderful rental for years, and let's just say there's a freak thing, somebody's there for a week, 5 times they call for noise, bam, I agree that if there's just some kind of a line that maybe justice isn't quite served regarding that rental, obviously it's gonna be something continuing on, everyone's gonna see that, you know, this is
Well,
something.
that's an
Well, you know
interesting
something,
thing,
the board-
because
the board
if
sits
there's
on
5
that,
complaints
you
in
know,
1 week from the
And
same
a
people,
lot of
I
things,
sure
there's
hell
no
ain't gonna
reason
rent
why
to
they
you.
can't. And frankly, I think if you write it on the conditional use permit,
Yeah, I mean,
That-
pure
that-
requirements.
that the board has all the latitude as far as whether you keep your permit or not.
Yeah.
It could be one noise complaint, but it might be a nasty noise complaint, but it does, so don't quantify it at all. Just say that
Just the
a
board
noise
has-
complaint could get your license pulled,
My
or
gosh,
a
Matt,
trash issue could get your license pulled.
Matt, you're green with it?
Every now and then. Even a blind squirrel gets an acorn once.
We're making progress.
Keep it- Yeah,
But the thing is, it could be
Let's
one,
move on.
but it might be 2 or 3.
right.
But
The
let's
board has the
let-
privilege to bring back.
try to nail this down a little bit as to what do we want to recommend to the board?
We had three workshops, minutes, had lots of recommendations to the board. I've got a few new ones in the minutes now.
Well, let's do one
But
more
we want-
workshop and
I'm
clean it
thinking-
up.
I'm thinking we want to give them a package that they look at and they read it,
Right.
sign
Yes, I
here.
agree.
Let's do one more workshop and clean it up.
Everything is
We
spelled
have
out.
to do a final report
Yeah.
with the suggested policy and procedures for STRs.
Yeah.
And wrap it up as a package, like Tyler will ask for.
Yeah.
And give it to the board for them to read and decide how to formulate the town policy.
Okay.
Yes, we're gonna have to do that. And we've got about 15 pages.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff, I mean, there's a lot of things, other than
It's
just.
okay, it's important, it's important enough to have a few.
We might then end up over-regulating to the point where it's a fish.
Yeah.
They may, you know, the board may want something relaxed.
Yeah, they might.
I mean, looking at all the other places though, I think what we've done so far is pretty relaxed. There's
There's some really tight ones.
yeah, I don't think it's that bad, Dick. I mean, we can
Well,
make it a lot
you know,
worse.
it doesn't have to be a negotiation.
What I'm hearing is the more we talk about it, the more restrictive we get. I think we've reached a point where we should send a report to the board and let them have it.
Well, no,
We're
I
sharing
still-
ideas at this
Yes,
point here.
Yes,
Right.
And ideas kind of make a full circle once you figure it out, Dick. It's not something where,
I understand, but I've heard a lot of repetition tonight, things that we already discussed in workshops. But what I'm pleading for is, let's discuss things new that we haven't discussed. And after we finish the list, take a look at it, take a
Put it
breather.
together and then
Come
massage,
back.
massage.
I think everything we've discussed is pertinent, anything, I don't think we need any more new stuff, I think everything is pretty much cut and dried.
There was something that,
Fire pits.
fire pits.
Forget
Well,
Fire pits on a case by case basis.
Let's put it this way, we almost lost this town 3 years
Yeah.
ago, forest fire.
Well, let's ask Eric what his concept was in this.
so, I mean, I think it was pretty straightforward. It's just like a charcoal grill. So if you have a gas fire pit, you're good. If you want to have a wood fire pit, no.
Have you been to Dave's backyard down at the bottom, his gas fire pit? It is less than 3 feet. The perimeter of the gas pit is less than 3 feet from the hillside at the bottom of my house.
Yeah. That's kind of awful.
We asked for him to deny visitors the use of that.
And he did.
He did, he complied with that.
Yeah, where like you go to the outlet, and theirs is surrounded by concrete or gravel, and
So on a case by case basis, I think, you know, I go along with a case by case
okay,
basis,
so
propane only. No-
Right.
No,
I would agree with that, as long as
Yeah.
we're denying any wood-based fire pit.
Yeah. all wood based.
All wood-based is, no questions, you
Right.
can't do it.
Wood or
And
charcoal.
propane and gas on a case by case.
Wood or charcoal or coal.
Okay,
Right.
you want
Any
the
open flames that you can't turn off, when you turn it off.
submit a sketch
Oh, you can't, oh, the charcoal, no.
for us to review?
I think we need,
On the application, maybe
that
just
might
say
even-
fire pit, you know,
Okay,
like fire pit, you know,
and question,
right,
do you intend to have a fire pit?
right.
Right, and also, we have to let them know, what, I forgot what the, 1, 2, and 3 were under Number two.
Yeah.
Fireman.
Yeah,
Fire
fireman, what is it, one is, one is,
I don't remember.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't.
But I know there's
Okay.
one where it's charcoal and gas.
exactly, we were under that for a while.
Right, right,
Yeah.
So that's why, to solve all problems, I told all my guests that no, there is no,
So,
charcoal, no open fires, no charcoal.
Yeah.
I don't have, none of my houses have gas fire pits, so I don't know what.
Or watches.
Hibachi's charcoal.
you know, so only propane
They're not.
fire pits are permitted,
Pick them up.
subject to case by case.
So you gotta
Right.
put charcoal somewhere, no,
And that may be, that may require a site visit to see, if you saw it at David's, you'd say, yeah, well, you're right.
Well, any solid fuel fire pits.
Sounds like you could formulate a motion. Yes.
At a workshop?
We're not in a workshop.
Remember?
Oh. Seems like.
Okay. For the fire
It's
pits?
emergency rules.
Okay.
Wait,
So
why don't we
I'm
just
gonna
include this as-
recommend that we include this in our proposal to the board.
Just do it as an overall part of the proposals.
Yeah,
We don't need to do it individually.
Yeah.
Where are fire pits usually located? I mean, you're talking about, here's a guy that's got it right back up to the.
well, he's got a lake down
A lake,
Huh?
there. No, it's a lake.
Okay,
there's a lake here?
What are you talking about?
so he built a pond.
It's a lake, isn't it?
He calls it a lake.
Yeah, it's Lake Dave.
Really?
Yeah.
It's got a waterfall and.
He's got a 300 gallon a minute waterfall.
Ooh.
Wow.
But you recycle.
It's a pond.
Listen,
No, you need a lake at 300 gallons a minute.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where is
I
this
was thinking
property?
like,
Across the street.
No, it's landscape.
Have flood
Yeah.
insurance. You mean flood insurance?
The definition of lake and pond is
Yeah.
a little ambiguous.
Perspective.
What is it?
Cricket
There's lots of people that call Green Mountain Falls Lake and Pond.
I
You
do.
get in trouble all the time for it.
that's like,
Okay,
Alright.
Okay, so we have the fire pits. Cap. Did we, I know we discussed it, but did we come to
I
some
don't think
sort
we
of
came to a
quasi
good
agreement?
conclusion on it.
That was
I
the
would
workshop.
propose 10 or 15%.
I agree with that.
Let's go with the number, let's go with.
The issue of a cap, you can always raise the cap.
Yeah.
If you have 5% of your properties that are STRs today, and you put the cap at 15, you can always raise that cap if at the time it approaches 15, you feel like you can handle more. But if it gets to 15 with no cap, you're gonna have a real hard time convincing people that there should be.
So at 40 houses, what percentage is that of the?
Well, I'm guessing that there's about 460 or 480 residential homes. in
There's
Green Mountain
8 or 9% right there,
Falls. So,
if we have 40 houses.
So,
so if we cap it at 12%, what's 12% of 400 houses? 48?
Well, yeah.
Make it a percentage so that if they develop that hillside, we can include those.
so
So if the number of housing units goes up, then the percentage
Yeah.
goes up for SDRs also.
15%, I don't think we'll ever go higher than that.
Well, what
Well,
if
it
we
might not.
annex?
It might
We
not.
might annex and.
no,
We
But-
actually-
someone had brought up
As a
last
percentage,
meeting.
it's floating.
Right.
Someone had brought up last meeting, that's gonna be bad publicity for us, but I did some research on Manitou, and they're talking about 2%. No one said a word about how bad it was, or how awful it was, or anything like that.
Well, not only that, but you send a message to the residents of Green Mountain Falls that you're watching out for their best interest. And if in fact you get to a point where you got 15%
Well, Probably about
and there's a need for more.
And
You haven't had a problem with the
popular
50 that you had, you can always raise
Yeah.
it. But trying to put a cap on it after you got 45 to 50 homes that have that SDR status, you're never gonna be able to get a cap.
Do we
You're gonna get an
know
argument
how
from everybody.
That would really help.
This
if we-
is,
Well, tell her.
This is for additional.
She'll have a reasonable,
This is,
she'll have a
You
minimum.
got 50s and under the cap,
Renee's is about
and you say that's enough, who's gonna complain? People who want
People
a higher
people
cap.
who wanna buy more SDRs.
But according to town hall, we're at 23, that,
So
we're at 23.
then it
We
could
have
be debated.
23?
that's what town hall says.
let's just say worst case scenario, it's not worst, it's 40 houses, 40 houses which she has listed. Out of those 40 houses, a lot of them have fallen by the wayside, a lot of them weren't rented. For example, Shelley's house was on the dockets, but it wasn't rented, so
But that's the thing, with our renewal fee and everything like that, it's gonna weed out the ones they're not actually renting out.
track them down and make sure.
Because if they're not paying it, they're not
So
gonna.
that's right. So the actual
But
number of
here's also
SDRs may
go
go down.
hand in hand with the cap, is that with the whole application process and the conditional use process, permits, there'll be a lot of houses that'll go by the wayside. So you have to take that into consideration, so
But I
you
think,
can make the cap whatever you want.
and I think part of this, it isn't just to reassure the property owners. It's not, or the people who are running SDRs, it's not just for them,
No,
it's for everyone. And
right.
so, that's why I think a cap's a great idea, it's because like Mike says, we can, if they put it in an ordinance, we can change it later. It's not something that's set in stone, it's just something that says, for now, this is what the town decided it is.
We agree a cap is fine. Do we wanna set the number? At the last meeting, the number 60 was suggested. And the minutes say, Patron stated he felt this was a good number, 60.
That was because, at the time, they said the number of residential units in Greenmont Falls was 600.
That's
I don't
correct.
think it's that high.
Okay, what is it?
So I think it's closer to 450 or 460.
Do we know?
Yeah.
No, but if we put a percentage on it, we don't have to worry about the number.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you can ask that tomorrow.
So I mean, I can ask how many residential tax paying
Right.
schedules are there in Greenmount Falls?
Right,
That's your houses.
No, well, there's some of the residents.
They got a computer.
Some of the
They're probably
some of the
gonna all
commercials
know.
have tax schedules too.
Pardon?
Some of the commercials have tax schedules too.
Well, they have, but not residential. Well, they're mixed, some of them are mixed use, but
So, this is I think 600 may actually be pretty close, because we had 372 households that took the census last time there was a census. I bet there's at least 30% on our, summer homes here.
Yeah.
30% seems pretty likely. And if I do that, if I do, 372, I get 531.
Okay.
So,
So if we,
5 to 600
so if we
seems,
put it at 10%, I don't think that doesn't hurt anybody who's in the SDR business today.
No,
And it's gonna be a while before we get there.
but I think, we do need to find out what we're
let's
just
go
saying.
ahead and find out.
Yeah, let's find out what the number is and then decide.
Well, sure, because you're gonna get asked that question.
Well, you can
how
also
many more
count
houses can we build?
electric meters.
well, we can.
Well, my lot's 3,500 square feet, and I'm putting 3 houses on it, so you know.
No,
Where are
at
you putting them?
the workshop, I made a comment about
That's
how
not
many,
gonna pass.
what the percentage was of homes that were SDRs in certain communities. And I made a mistake. I said 62% in Crested View, it's not, it's 52%.
Breck is over 50.
No, Breck is 41.
Wow.
Uray is 12, Estes Park is 7, Frisco is 6, Durango is 1.
Is that what it actually is, or is that limit?
No, that's what it
What it
is.
is, currently is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow,
But
that's interesting.
52% is a lot of buildings. Even as small as Crested View is, that's a lot of buildings.
But it's also a tourist,
Yeah.
that's also based on.
It is, and it's a ski area, I understand.
Yeah, you put it in a condo complex and put them all out.
Yeah, right, and you've got your cuts, percentage.
There you go.
But you know what?
What do you wanna see, Mac, a cap, a number, or a
I'd like to
percentage?
see a percentage.
Percentage.
And that way,
Don't do that.
that way if more housing units go in, then it raises the actual number of houses, the percentage stays the same. And then if you reach that percentage somewhere in the future, you can always raise it if you think it's necessary.
Well, I'd like to find out exactly what we've got for houses for the vacation rentals. I'd like to see the exact numbers.
This is kind of an interesting number.
I'd like to see exactly what we got and take over from there. I gotta come in, I think, one day with Renee and go through it and look around with these houses and see who's doing what and who isn't.
But I do agree with you, Mac, that it's gonna go down once we actually say, hey, you have to pay a renewal fee. They'll be like, wait, I haven't rented out in 10 years.
Well, yeah, if they haven't paid a renewal fee or their tax anyway, they're gonna bail out, it's certain.
Or if they have to pay a renewal fee, we're gonna find out who isn't paying a renewal fee,
Yeah.
they're gonna be on the list, so. Catch-20,
Then you have to consider the fact that somewhere down the road, the marshal is likely to go to one of those places, knock on the door and say, you're not, you're gonna have to leave.
Yeah.
Too bad, but that's exactly what it is.
I think our enforcement's gonna have to get ratcheted up that actually.
Yeah, it's gonna.
Well, my guess is that once the new regulations go into effect, if people are aware of them,
Yeah.
they'll probably straighten out or get out.
I wanna be the vacation rental czar.
That's fine. You're hired.
I wanna wear boots.
Sorry, doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I think we're at a pretty good place right now.
Yeah.
And so let's think about it over the week and then 2 weeks and then we can assign people to kind of work out maybe some rough drafts of the different.
The sections.
Yeah,
Do we need another workshop?
I don't think so.
Thank you.
Gee. We've done a lot of good work, and we've made a lot of consensus decisions on which way this should go.
Now we just gotta put them in place, Dick.
The only thing I'm worried about is we keep going back, discussing the same thing over and over. We need to stop,
Yeah.
put something in writing, and critique that.
Let's do it.
I think we have enough for a very nice first draft.
Yes.
Yep, I agree.
When can I get my copy?
Pre-publication.
Put it up as wallpaper in the dining room.
Can you see what's changed?
Enlarged, darkened.
Have it printed on the toilet.
Yes, right now.
Somebody should get to,
No diapers,
get to
no,
express what you really think about it.
and maybe don't even put that down. Not in the toilet.
Mr. Chairman, there's one thing that has a lot of lead time, and that is increasing the lodging tax from 2% to 4%.
Oh,
We had consensus that we should recommend that to the board. I would like to move that we recommend to the board that the lodging tax be increased from 2 to 4%, so they can start the long process of increasing the tax.
Do we include the target of the increased tax of 2%?
Well, you have to notify, well, it won't have until the board accepts that. But
Decision on
you're
how
gonna have to
to use it.
notify all those property owners who have.
Right.
Special use.
What was the building tax gone up? It went from 2% to 3% or 4%? Has that gone up to
I thought it
4%?
was at 3.
Oh, the use tax?
Three. Use tax is three.
It used to be 2.
Yeah, I mean, the use tax is specified as to what the town has to use it for. So, you know, it's by cars and trucks.
When you build a house, what do you pay for the material?
Like Carson.
3%.
3%. It used to be 2, though, right?
No, it's always been three. Started out.
Vehicle for the chief,
Oh, it's the one.
He has
Graders.
already.
Yeah,
What?
we don't need any more.
no, graders, but that's what use tax has to be used for.
And
That or road maintenance materials.
and we decided where that use tax, that special, that lodging tax was gonna go?
The additional 2%, we discussed that, and that was for, promoting the town website, which would,
Until it's up and running.
yeah.
But
What's
there's,
the
there's gonna come a time when that's saturated, and you gotta
If-
still be
Yeah,
getting money.
and parks and
If and when we collect the 2% that we have now, where is that going?
Property tax had to go to
Well,
promote the
I
area.
think some of it should go to administration, because there's gonna come a time when the clerk is gonna need an assistant just for that. And even if it's only for 2 or 3 months out of the year, you're gonna you have to pay somebody
Yeah.
to do that work, because the clerk is not gonna have the time.
So we might
Somebody in the
include that
business
in our,
not gonna do it.
Right.
our package, that these funds primarily are to support the short-term rental, special use application administration.
So, like, at my work, I have to assign my time to different projects. I have to account for where my time goes.
Different
Do they,
geocodes.
yes, have that here?
Well, they got
Well, we
geocodes,
don't
right?
right now. We can't.
Right, but I think that'd be a good idea, because then you can actually see how much time is spent on vacation rentals in the future. Right
In the
now,
future, right, in the future is the key word.
Well, right now, it's nothing.
Right now, whoever comes up with a vacation rental application, we're gonna darn well know that they have to pay the.
yeah,
Well, I'm sure you're gonna get 23 opinions spread away when they find out what the new regulations are, when they find out that you have to pay 2% more for lodging debt. You're definitely
So
gonna
that's
get
a
somebody-
pass-through, that's a pass-through.
Well, I agree, but that there are people who are against paying any kind of tax.
And they're not.
Well,
so,
they're not, exactly.
I know this is a meeting or two in the future, but once we get the draft rules written up, I think it would be courteous of us to post it on the town website.
Post office.
Well, you can't, would that even fit in the post office board? I mean, maybe put a stack in the post office, we're allowed to.
I think
You know,
they-
Send it to people who we know.
Well, and I was gonna say, and send it to all the
No,
known SDR accounts, because we have their address, and they're gonna be paying the fees.
What are you talking about?
Once we have the rules, make sure it's
The rules.
widely
But
disseminated.
that,
I made a motion about a lodging tax. I'll restate.
You didn't say, well, you just said you
We
wanted.
have a motion on the floor,
Yeah,
let's
there's a
go
motion
back
on
to
the
the
floor.
rules.
I didn't think it was a motion, sorry.
Okay,
Okay.
I made a motion, I'll make it again.
Take
I
a second from
move
the
to recommend to the town board of trustees that the Green Mountain Falls lodging tax be increased from 2% to 4%. Second, it's a Mazda. Okay. Now, discussion on the motion.
Discussion.
Okay, we already discussed this and thought it was a good idea. And if I look at the notes, the reasons, Jesse Stroop sent us a letter saying it was too low, our current rate was too low. And another letter was received from, excuse me.
As received from,
someone gets one thing.
Alright, so the discussion
That was
of
Panther.
and workshop was that we're gonna have an increased workload for the town clerk to administer the SDRs for compliance and for collecting taxes and other, man-hour demands. So we need to have a larger income
Right.
related to SDR management.
So my only question is, do we want to earmark where the increased 2% is? Strong vote.
I
I
think,
would, I would like that, but as
Uh,
far as discussion goes, before,
I actually think it should be 5%.
no, I think.
That's
would like-
lower than Woodland Park, that's lower than Springs.
It
But
can
that's
be
a big
increased in the future.
Well,
Yeah.
the tax you're talking about in Woodland Park is the city tax that they get back from.
Well, no, that was the lodging tax in the city. Yeah. 5.37.
I'm just gonna say this again, and it may sound redundant, but I just think that if we could collect all the 2% that we should be collecting from people who aren't even paying,
We're gonna get a lot.
we're gonna get a lot of money. And I'm, not because I'm a vacation rental owner and I'm paying 2% and don't want it raised. I think that it should be, I just think we should collect what we should.
I think with the added work that we're going to impose on the town clerk, town hall, you need to collect more.
Well, again, it's, you know, it's not a fee that you end up paying, your clients are the ones who pay it. And the thing is that, you know, if you look at, if they're going to Vail,
They're
you're
paying
paying
a whole lot
11%.
more. You're right, Eric's right, you're right, yes, I agree with that. On that, yeah.
And as far as the spending, you just say, it has to support and maintain the
The benefits
the
by
benefits
tourism,
associated
benefits
with
by
tourism.
tourism, then yeah.
And that covers giving it to the clerk for her time as well as putting a billboard up.
You go to Branson, Missouri, it's 20%.
Okay, so that's what I've been asking is, do we earmark in our recommendation where the additional 2% goes?
Okay, we did discuss that on 19th of January.
Okay, so if you want to reference that in your motion.
In the notes, okay. Number 2, designated a specific use for lodging income. Suggested uses. A, adding and maintaining a list of STRs to the new town website. B, tourism promotion. C, town beautification, friends, parks, etc. The discussion noted it would be nice to let STR owners see that part of their lodging tax was being used to help increase their number of rentals.
Yeah, so I personally, I'd like to see that in the motion, any reference to that.
I agree with that.
Okay?
Yeah.
You can put it in the discussion of the motion in the minutes, or we can put it in a motion,
In the motion.
okay? I agree to that friendly amendment, somebody makes it,
I move to amend
got it?
the existing motion to raise the lodging tax from 2 to 4% to include the
The uses mentioned,
uses mentioned in the workshop minutes from,
19 January,
Very good, Jim.
I can put that in the minutes,
all right.
I'll second that.
okay, second,
Any further discussion on the amendment to the motion? All those in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Now, any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor, vote by saying aye.
aye,
Those opposed?
thank you,
Okay, thank you. I like that.
we can start.
Very good.
Anything else, guys?
That's great. Anything that benefits the town benefits the rental owners because the lake looks great, and the park looks great, the roads, and I mean, it all
Not only
just
that,
makes
but,
it better for everybody.
but none of it comes out of their pocket.
And really isn't that much.
No, it's not.
Good, good, we offer with an 18%.
In
Lodging
California.
tax.
Yeah, right.
We ran in California.
Yeah. Maybe change it down there. Not surprised when I was in Manchester, New Hampshire, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, and their combined lodging and sales tax was under 10%.
When Renee told me it was 2%, I was really surprised.
You serious?
I thought, what? I thought that seemed low.
No, the total tax is 10.13, so.
There are times when Fremont Falls gets dragged into the 21st century.
Yeah.
And this is one of them.
Yeah.
Any correspondence?
No correspondence.
Suggest we adjourn?
I'll second that. All right, we'll adjourn at 8:31.
Perfect.
All right, you and I.
Good job.
And I will copy you guys on the email to the assessor site on which map to use to determine lot lines.
Do it every 2
Yes.
How to go about lot lines and legal description.
Didn't want to look at it.
And then you
Oh,
That's what I did.
you sleep good.
Coffee was right